Welcome to Trading Lounge for the Asian report for the 21st of January. And starting with the ASX here on the monthly chart, I just wanted to point out two basic things here is that we have a trend line coming through here, which we've tapped on the bottom here. We've also pulled back 61.8% from this move from this low to this high to here. And as long as this low stays in place, then we have an uptrend in place here. Okay, so I've talked about various situations with this where we can have a low in place here, or we simply move up to 6,000, which is roughly the 61.8% retracement level here somewhere, and then have another move down from that point there. So, but good support on this. So I'm just going to go into the 4-hour chart and pick up this low here. So on this low here, I've been looking at it as a low of wave 4, but also as an A wave where we could have further downside once this is moved finished up here. The 61.8% is just roughly around the 6,000 area through here, and the count that I've got moving up through here, we can count it up as being corrective in terms of this A wave here. It would have an A wave here and a B wave here, and then this wave 3 would be a C wave there in that instance, which would be wave C here of B, so an A wave and a B wave. So I can just drag that across here a little bit because that should be equal with wave 3 there and wave B there. So I can pull these down to the 6,000 area, but I'll just leave them out the way for the moment. So in both cases, the count will be the same until we get to wave 3 of C here. Yeah, and on the bullish side, we can look at it as wave 1 and wave 2, wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5 moving up for the more bullish part in all of that process. Okay, so our main count is from wave 2 to wave B here, this area through here, this low here, and counting 5 waves up. So we've got wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then we've got 1 and 2 and 3 here and 4 here, and wave 5 is extending based on positive outcomes of the US-China trade deal, but also with negotiations, and especially with Trump, who's not really a negotiator. So things could get a bit spiky up into this space. So we'll just need to see how we go. But this particular area through here, just before the 6,000, will be where we can expect some pullback and a correction here, and then if we move into wave 5 here, we'll be looking at it like this. And then it's at this point, this is the critical point here, this is where it can just fail from this point or pull back to the wave 4 of 1 lesser degree, wherever that comes in, and we can look at that here as a 38.2% retracement level. So from this low here, if we just take it to 6,000, then we can see that it comes back into 5.8. So we wouldn't really turn bearish unless we had this number here as the retested resistance, and then we could see the market come down further at that stage. So let's just pull this apart through here. Let's just go to the hourly chart here where our trades are. So from this low area here, wave 2 or wave B, we have wave 1 and 2 here. We have a few entries coming in here. We've been moving the stop up. We've had another entry over here, and yeah, so there's a couple of things I need to talk about here. It's possible to have this green wave 1 here. Well, I've got that in both cases, green wave 2 here, then green wave 3 here, green wave 4 here, and green wave 5 sitting here as well. I don't think that's the case, but in other markets it's showing up a little bit like that. But yeah, I'm not too worried about other markets just at the moment. So yeah, this top up here, we will look at that as wave 3 or wave 5, but the primary count is wave 3 here, and then we'll look for a wave 4 to come back. We are seeing an extension in this move coming up through this space here. I thought that we would have a bit more of a correction here, but from Let me just get this in perspective here. So we've got this low here, wave 4. We've got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. So I'm calling this wave 1 here and wave 2 here, and then wave 3, 4 and 5 moving up here. But it's also possible to count this as 1 here and 2 here, and having this as the third wave all coming through here. But even in this case here, from this low here, I can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So we've got wave 1 and 2 in here. All of this is the third wave. A fourth wave can come back. It might come back a little bit further, but as long as it stays above the 5-9, that's fine. So that could just come back a little bit further into this space here. And then still another move up here. So I'm looking from this low, whichever way you want to count that, I'm still looking for a higher move here. So we can move our stop up a little bit further now. We can pop that, we could pop it up just under here, but for the time being, I'll just put it under here, because until when we're looking at 5-9 here, this is the closest largest number, and this is where a correction could happen. So if a correction is going to happen, then it's not going to find support. It can trade above the group 1 there and down to group 2. So group 1 is 10, 20 and 30, so support on top of 30 here, nice tested support on top of 30. It can trade above it, it can pop its head up, but it's got to come back and find support on this. So if it can find support, then it'll move up to 50. If not, then it will be pulled back down to this area here. It will be pulled back down to this area here if the 5, 9, 20, the number 2 within group 1, 1, 2 and 3, if 2 becomes the retested resistance, then it's going to pull back into this area. If it's going to pull back into this area, it can bounce and move straight back up. But when we're working with a correction at a number like this, we drop down to the smaller levels, and this would be group 2 and group 1 here, and this would be the range that the market can have a correction in. And in that case, we would want to either keep the stop out of the way, or have the stop up here just under the number 2 here. If that became the retested resistance, then we'd need to have the stop there. So I'll let you think about that for a little bit. Yeah, there's not much on the tick chart for this. We're working on 100 ticks, but this is my 20 tick chart just in here. So yeah, this is just another little count. In fact, I won't even go into this. It's just a little bit complicated, so I'll just leave that at that. So what you're looking for here today is you're looking for 5, 9, 30 to become the support. If the number 2 here, the 5, 9, 20 becomes the retested resistance, then you'll be moving down from that point. Okay, so let's move on to the other markets, and we'll move on to the Nifty first. And with the Nifty here, just in the bigger picture, we can look at the Nifty here on the daily chart as wave 3 here, an A wave here, a B wave up here, and 5 waves down for wave C of 4 here and finished here. So in that case, with that there, we would be pushing to the upside here. Now, in pushing to the upside here, I think it's around 11,077, which is roughly the 61.8% retracement level. It's just a bit of a guide stick, but we may pop above that or we may fall short of that. But what I would want to see to help confirm that this is a low here, I would want to see this orange line here where the 61.8% is become the tested support. If that can become the support, then we can push higher from that point. Now, if for some reason this is a top in play here, so we've got wave 3 here, wave 4 here, and wave 5 here, if that is a top in place, then we have to acknowledge that we've got 5 waves down here, and this could be wave A, or wave 1 here, and wave 2 back here, or wave B, and down for 3, or wave C here. So yeah, that's sort of a shadow that's a little bit haunting at this stage. And of course, the whole global markets would be in that position as well in their own ways. So we're not through with all of this yet. And obviously the main headline is the target is the trade relations with the US and China, and that will sort of be the story behind it, making it move. But I just still don't have enough evidence to call this as bullish up here. We can look at it in being bullish. I think that I may have had it on. I'm not quite sure, just check on this chart. Yeah, so we can have it bullish like this, and a little bit unsure about how to count this in here. It's just not very clear on the intraday to count these little moves here. So yeah, but still, looking at this here, we should be pushing higher now that we know that we've taken this high out here. We should be moving up higher. I could even have this wave 2 sitting here. I could also have it sitting over here as well, and having this as wave 1 here and wave 2. We should push higher through here. That's the main thing with all of this. But coming back into the 1 hour chart here, I've got it labeled like this here. This is from the 4 hour chart actually. So with a 4 hour chart, looking at it as a corrective wave to the upside, we're looking at it as wave A here, and then an A, B, C, D, and E here for wave B, and then 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here. This is our 61.8% retracement level, roughly in here where that orange line is. So that and the 11,000 is, being the resistance here. But yeah, it's already sold off strongly from that point on its first arrival. Second arrival, it's sold off less than this one, and less and less, and now it's moved through this current high here. So it is in a positive move to the upside. So we'll just continue to stay with this. I mean, India's been the strongest market out of the Asian markets. It's a pretty dynamic sort of country. It's got its problems like everybody else. Its three main problems are population. I think they have a child every 28 children every minute. Their bureaucracy is slowing down any expansion in their plan to be more dominant there. So I think what was it? Bureaucracy, population, and I can't remember now. But yeah. So we'll leave that at that for the time being, and let's look at China here. So from the low here in China, we can count 5 waves to the upside here from 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then up for 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5. I guess we could count this, we could also count this differently as well. I've just started from the ground up here in terms of, counting straight from the low here. It's possible to have this here, if I copy this, as have wave 1, well, that wouldn't be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. It'd probably be in here, so that really should be over here too. 1 and 2 in this space here, and having this climbing up as 1 and 2 and a third wave and fourth and fifth. There's different ways to count this, but I just think that we just continue the way that we're going, because when these markets turn, they'll turn all across the globe. So one of the most important things now that we're looking at with all of this is the S&P 500, and its 61.8% retracement level is at 2,700, and that's getting close to that now at the moment. So we'll see that being touched on in the first days of trade this week. And looking at Hong Kong and then China, so Hong Kong is much the same as well here. So with Hong Kong, we're looking from the low here in terms of 1 and 2, a nice third wave here, fourth wave, and the fifth wave here. I had the fifth wave here but it looks like it's extending. So we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So I have to label that 1 and 2, and that makes us going to have wave 3 here, 4 here, and 5 here. So we can be looking higher here at the 2800 area here. We can also move that up to the 27,500 here to see this play out as a corrective pattern across this particular space here. So further upside for this market within this trend channel here as well. So yeah, let's continue higher. We have to consider 8 a profit taking number here. And also too, we can see that wave 5 here is and this goes for a lot of the other markets as well around the world and in Asia, in that we've seen this wave structure here really extend out. So this is normally, it's okay to have wave 5 here as the extended structure within a move. It's okay to have wave 1, mostly it's wave 3 here. But so what we might have to do is we might have to look at this wave as wave 1 here and wave 2 here, say in blue, and then wave 1 and 2 here in green, and then all of this is wave 3 here. So if I can just put this here for a moment, wave 1 here, and then this one here, copy this for wave 1 here, and then this wave 3 up here. So I'll just leave them there for the time being to remind us that this structure could actually change in the way up here. Okay, so yeah, we need to keep an eye on that. And also Japan as well is moving along quite nicely here as well. So we were looking down from wave B down to wave C here. We had a little bit of a problem in that wave 5 didn't have a new low here, but it didn't really stop us in our trading because we knew that we could take that high out here and also this high out here, which we have done, because we could have had this wave 3 here with an A and a B and a C here for this wave 4, and then coming down for wave 5 here, but that wasn't the case. So we put our trade signals over our Elliott wave count, and that was the right thing to do, and we're on our way to the upside here quite nicely here in many ways. So we've been looking at this here, a sort of half trade here, smaller trade here. I've moved the stop from here up to here. We've been triggered here as well. We can expect some sort of correction here as well, and we can see that this is extending really nicely here. And in this case here, by the way, you can see that I do have it as wave 1 and 2 here, 1 and 2 here, and then 3 here. So it's this feels right here. It's got the right look and perspective in this instance. So there we go. So we can expect a little correction in this space here, and then a push up into here, and then wave 4, and then pushing up here high in wave 5. We can also look to go long again over in this space over here, but we'll wait for all this we'll wait for the correction at 21 to resolve itself correctly first. Alrighty, thanks for tuning in. Cheers.